Hi.
There. Hey there, how are you?
I'm feeling very accomplished at the moment.
Good,
So
I know I just got your text. That's awesome.
I know. Well, my birthday is Sunday, and
Oh, happy early birthday.
thank you. I've been telling Mark I need a printer, and usually I say that when I'm upset, and I'm like, I need a printer. So I got a printer.
That's very exciting. So you were able to get it all set up and
Yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge because I have a Chromebook,
right. Mhm.
and it is wireless, so I had to go through all the advanced settings, and I feel so smart.
I would feel the same way. I'd feel very accomplished that I did that, like by myself, definitely.
It's the little things in life, right, that give us the most wins. Hey,
Mhm.
Katie, since you're on here before everybody, so I just am looking at the Red Day video sign up,
Yep.
and that's closed out now. We closed it at noon today.
Okay.
And I see somebody came on here and just put their phone number and their city. So I'm wondering, like, do you have a way to look up phone numbers?
Yep, I can look it up in the like the ELT has like a master list, so let me look it up in there quick.
Okay. Leave it to a realtor to not completely fill something out. Shocking. Directions are hard to follow, I guess.
When are you guys looking at doing that, do you think?
So I think we're gonna do it. Let me just see what Phil said, and I think it's gonna be. Let me see. Oh, wrong email. I can't find the email, but I thought he said like Monday or Tuesday. He should be
Nice.
reaching out to people now and kind of
Okay.
giving like a day and then a timeline, kind of like to watch out for him in your driveway.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week, somewhere in there.
Okay.
We should know
Nice.
a little bit more after. Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, should I unmute myself?
Wait, what's that?
Should I mute myself?
No, I don't think you have to.
Okay.
Hi, Scott.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
It's Friday, but I don't know what that means anymore.
It's Blur's Day.
It's the 3rd day of the month.
Right. Yes, it's Blur's Day.
It's actually April 97th today.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes, that is.
Did you get all your Yoda put together?
No, I was like pretty much failed. So we had like dinner, and then we had this like birthday Zoom that they did for me. And by the time that was done, it was like 7:40, and the kids were crazy. I got some of it done, but it wasn't in the card. So now we'll have entertainment for tonight too.
There you go.
Are they helping you?
Well, that's what I thought. Like they would be interested, but last night they didn't seem to be at all. But I mean, I can do it faster on my own,
Right.
but I want to do it with them. So hopefully they
Right.
show some interest.
Makes
I
sense.
remember, I remember once when my boys were little, they got it was this medieval castle Lego set, and they were putting it together, and I'm like, you're doing it wrong. There's a book, pictures.
Yeah.
So they've tried to follow the pictures for a while, and then they totally lost interest. And finally, I got the whole thing put together, and the first time they used the drawbridge, the wall fell down. I said, give me the glue. I did. I glued the whole thing together.
That's funny.
You know, I just
Hello.
updated it, but I don't. It was Sarah Baumgardner, but I don't have her address.
Okay, I'll reach out to her and get her address then.
Okay, but I put everything else in there: email, phone number, everything else is in. Or no, that was already in there. Just kidding. Just put her name in there. Perfect.
Great job, Katie.
Thank you.
Great job, Katie.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we'll get started. So like we talked about this morning on if you were on this morning's call, we kind of said today was going to be about circle prospecting. And I'm so glad Joe's here because I'm going to pick your brain a ton if that's okay with you, Joe.
That's fine.
Okay, perfect. So circle prospecting is something new that I just have started. Mike and I have just started, and we are.
What is circle prospecting?
So circle prospecting is like you pick an area. For instance, like we're circle prospecting our neighborhood right now. So we'll look up like a property that was just listed or just sold, and then call around that to like talk to neighbors and let them know, like, did you just see a property that was just listed? Did you see this one just sold? And obviously try to get business as a result of it, get leads, get contacts, that kind of stuff. So
Okay. That makes
okay, so we have been using, first of all, do you use a script, Joe?
Mhm.
Yeah, I kind of went over it this morning. We just, depending on what you're calling on, it's just, hey, we've sold a lot of properties in the area and we have a lot of buyer interest in your specific neighborhood. Do you know of anybody looking to move, or are you thinking about moving this year? I think is exactly what we use.
So it's okay. So so I guess I just wanted to have conversations around that and like, and not necessarily script practice, but just like when somebody says no, like, is that it? That's where you end the conversation. I bring this up only because I had a conversation with Dan Callis regarding this. And if you know Dan Callis, he's a big cold caller and circle prospector. And so he was like diving in very, very deep to it. And that seemed he was like, who do you know at your church? Who did you see at Target? Like, who do you know here? And I don't think I'm ready to go that far yet. So I'm wondering if the answer is no, I don't know anybody. Are we hanging up the phone or are we diving in deeper?
It really depends on how the person says no. Like if they're like, no, I don't have time for this, or leave me alone. I usually tend to call it off there and just say, okay, well, great. Seems like you really like your house. Have a great day. Like if they're like very abrupt, because obviously I don't want to make anybody mad. I'm just calling them out of the blue, right?
Right.
But usually my second question is, okay, great. So you like the neighborhood you live in? And they're like, yeah, we love it. We've been here for 20 years. You'll get a lot of, or if they don't ask, you can ask, how long have you been there?
Right.
Oh, we've been there for 10 years. Okay, great. It seems you might know a lot of your neighbors then. Yeah. Do you know of any of them that are looking to move? No, because people are wanting to help you a lot of times. Just that, it's a natural human like connection is, okay, I can help you. So I usually ask, can you please help me? I'm trying to find somebody that wants to sell their home. You might know your neighbors a little bit more. And I do use that line, like, please help me. Or could you lend me a hand, or, anything that you're feeling at the time that kind of leads them on to wanting to help you. And most of the time they'll laugh like, yeah, we love our neighborhood, or we just did a remodel and we're not moving for 20 years, or we're going to die in the home is one I get a lot of.
Gonna carry me out of this home.
Yeah, we're going to die in this home.
Do you say then, can you put me in your probate plan or something?
No, I usually laugh and go, I get that from a lot of people. But, it seems like you've been there for a while. What are your neighbors thinking, or that kind of stuff,
Okay.
Or do you know anybody in general that's looking to buy or sell, maybe in a neighborhood over or somewhere near? because a lot of people search by county. So there's always a way to ask, and you can usually tell when they're ready to hang up. You just kind of let that go then, and thank them for their time.
Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of, I guess this is gonna maybe turn into a little Q&A with Joe, if that's okay with you, Joe.
Mhm.
Okay. So how many calls do you think you make a day?
I can tell you exactly. We track all ours.
Okay.
Like last week, I made 941 dials, and I got in contact with about 70 people.
Okay. That's 70 people.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
Are you using like a dial system, or are you just doing this on your own? Like you're just dialing one number at a time?
No, we have a dialing system at this point because it got too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
What dial? Do you mind me asking what dial system you're using?
Right now we use Vulcan 7.
Okay. Yep. I'm not familiar. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We have also used, I think it's Redex or Vortex before.
Yep. Redex.
Yeah, so we just recently subscribed to Land Voice, but I don't know if they don't have a dialer. So that's probably our first thing that we're missing is a dialer, but we're actually not dialing that fast yet
No,
yeah.
we started without one. There's no need for one until you get like where we're at, I guess, or,
Right.
I would just get comfortable with the scripts. Like, I know like you're having issues with the scripts, but like Renee was on this morning and I was going to say something, but she used to make us stand in a corner and verbatim the entire script from top to bottom, like 20 times in a row. Because if you know your script front and back, it doesn't matter where they lead you, you always know what to come back to. And that's the biggest thing, is being the knowledge broker, is really knowing where to go, because they can go from 1, the first intros, down to 5, back up to 3, back down to 7, and you should know where to like go seamlessly and let the conversation lead itself,
So yes, I agree with that completely. We've been watching lots of stuff on YouTube and stuff. So I think I guess what script did Renee have you use? Because right now we have the Mike Ferry script, and the whole script is based off of the fact that the client or the prospect says yes, that they're going to move. So
Yep. And then the best thing to do would be to role play with somebody, them saying no. But the great book that Jeff actually got and then we both read was called Fanatical Prospecting.
okay.
And I think that paired with your scripts is great because it teaches you how to close, because a no isn't a no. It's not always no. It's, well, I don't have time right now, or I'm not interested, or I'm staying with the same agent, with expireds or something, or no, I'm not thinking of selling, even though they're doing a remodel and they've thought about it, but they might have an agent in mind. So it's just asking those other questions again in a different way and acknowledging that they had an objection in the first place.
Hey, Tina, I think too, like, there's just different models of different philosophies of like the script people. And I think Mike Ferry is a very specific, like Dan Callis type in your face. You're going to ask for the question like 9 times. So
Right.
If that may not be your jam, then, I know Jeff Glover has a script that I just found for circle prospecting, or just listed, just solds, and bold, or just different avenues might be more, you might have more luck with, or might find more success with.
And maybe
Like this one here, if you can see this, like, I don't know, it's not as in your face, but it's also like, okay, who do you know you would like to move in your neighborhood? That's not a yes or no question. They could say nobody. Oh, okay, well, can you think of a neighbor, friend, or relative? I don't know. It's just like, there is no stop point. It's just like asking more questions. And if you did list a house there, or you just did sold a house, we went door knocking, and we had, this was right before COVID and everything, door knocking, and we had, 8 or 9 offers on this property. So you just lead with that. And, we're just, in this market, I find we have to be really proactive in order to get deals together. So we're just out here, like, really seeing what we can dig up and seeing if there's anything out there, because, just waiting for stuff to come on just isn't good enough yet for our buyers and for this, or just gearing it towards what you're looking at doing. You're looking at going out and being as proactive, and you're not waiting, and you're wanting to go above and beyond for your clients. And then you just start asking some questions. But there should be no like real stopping point, or no yes or no type questions.
Hey Scott, I think at the old office, in the script books you used to have up, I know we had some from Diana Kokoska, the bold.
Yeah.
Like, she may have a circle prospecting. I know she has like expired and those ones.
Diana Kokoska built her entire business off of door knocking with her 2 kids in a wagon.
Right.
So, and it just basically was like, well, I mean, you can't use this right now, really. You could say it over the phone, but she would knock on the door and say, I know you weren't going to come to the office, so I'm coming to you. And then she would just ask, her questions. And, she would just sell 200 homes a year every year from just going out and finding motivated people and not having any excuses.
I think melding it all together, because Jeff and I don't use a specific script. I know we had Diana's, I know we did Mike Ferry's, and there's a couple other ones, and we just made it our own. And then after doing it so often, you get like, this sounds better, or use this word instead of this word, or a certain style that you pick up, I guess, so you sound different. Because if you sound the same and I'm calling that neighborhood and you're calling the neighborhood, then it's kind of like, are you sticking out from the rest?
Right.
And I like Diana's, like, I knew you weren't going to come into my office and ask me, but I'm calling you, or something around, like, if you came up with your own, right,
Mm-hmm.
that you felt comfortable with, then it wouldn't be as hard, and you wouldn't have call reluctance to get on the phone. It would just be like, I'm making this call because honestly, I'm trying to bring as much value to my clients and possibly to this person, because I've sold a home in the area, or B, have a buyer looking to move in your area due to a sold home, even in and around that area, within a 1 mile radius even. So, just because you don't want to sell now doesn't mean you won't sell in the future. And I might stand out to you because I called you directly.
Right.
So
Right.
having the right mindset behind it helps as well.
Yeah.
Like, if you bring,
You
bringing
also have to use what is in the moment of today. So, these scripts are all probably written like 50 years ago. So you have to be able to blend in like what you're doing in this market now, and what, do you have any questions about real estate and how it's working, or how people are staying safe? A lot of the things that you say in a care call, you would say in a circle prospecting call. And just to pull up a script that was written 40 years ago and think that it's going to work like right now in this environment with all these like unknowns and all the stuff happening, I would think that I can take a look through some of these bold pivot scripts, because those were just written like specifically for everything happening now, and try to help you. But I agree with Joe, like, if you don't really believe in that script, it's going to be really hard to, it's like trying to wake up early when you stay up too late. It's super hard to do. But if you believe in your script, that's like going to bed at 9 p.m. and like, oh, 6 or 7 comes and you're like, yeah, I want to get up. Like, this feels great. And it's the same thing. You want to get on the phone and you want to share that message, and you want to go because you believe in it, and you're doing that to provide value and help. So.
Right. Like, we were, like I said, we've been watching lots of YouTube and just watching other people script practice and their different styles. And it's knowing the script is number one. And I know that, because, they even attributed that to like an actor. Like, an actor doesn't get up there and have the script in front of them, they know it verbatim so that they can act it out and shift when they need to and make adjustments and things like that. So I know that. I just was like, this script that I was working off was just so, there's just a hard stop, like at question number 1. And then I was like, I've been lost with the right answer from them. So I like the Jeff Glover one that you just showed. So I'll have to go into the one spot for resources and look at the different ones that are in there.
Scott, we should maybe do you have just one for scripts specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, I've got right here, I've got scripts and objections,
Okay.
and this has like closes, lead conversion, door knocking, circle prospecting, expires, FISBOs, and then some Jeff Glover stuff. And then these are ones I haven't really like labeled anywhere, or sorry, not labeled, but like put anywhere. And then also under lead gen levers, I believe if you go into some of these things, and I don't know, maybe not. I think I put it all into one folder where before I might have had scripts and things in each of these, but now, yeah, the best place to go is in this scripts. And that's not even all of them. Like I'd go to mapscoaching.com or even the Maps Coaching app. There's a scripts tab there. Ignite has scripts and Bold has scripts, and like there's scripts to make you blue in the face. So then it's all about sorting them, making them what, like the market of the moment or the message of the moment right now.
I think in finding the one that you're most comfortable with. Too.
Yeah, so here's 76 pages from Ignite. So let's see if
There
there's
are
like
some in Ignite, I believe. In like finding your business, I think it was. But you don't have to use a specific one either. Like as long as you get comfortable with it, like you could put your own objections down or script or however you want to move forward.
Right, I think like that would, I feel like for me that would develop over time because it's a comfort level. It's the same thing of like when I started working with buyers, you know, there was an uneasiness that came with it, and now, you know, now there's an ease that comes with it. So I'm sure with this, because, you know, it's not something that we've done, it's not something that we've implemented in our business, but we are now, and taking the time, this COVID time, to really dive in and try to start honing in on these skills. So over time, I'm sure I would come up with my own rhyme or reason, but literally even when I script practiced yesterday on the huddle call, I was like sweating. I should not be sweating, like script practicing with you guys, right? Like, so you can imagine when I actually get on the phone with like a potential somebody, I'm like, I have to take 3 showers a day.
You got to make sure you do it every day. Jeff and Matthew and myself do it every single morning right before the huddle call.
What's that? You script practice every single day?
Every single
No,
day.
he said they shower together.
That's what I thought he said.
We do both. And
I knew that's what you meant, Ethan.
We do both, and that really brings us together, you know.
Well, it's virtual though, so they just know it's at the same time.
That's how your team bonds. Interesting tactic.
Tina, I can help you out with this specific thing. Like I can look around and see, because I think we're similar personalities. So like around like what I would say, or you know what you would do. I mean, if you're doing these just listed, just solds, is this around something that you just got an accepted offer on a listing, or are you doing this for just like completely random? Because I feel, and this could be another take on it, but if you have a buyer that's really looking for a specific neighborhood, that would be the ultimate lead in to say, I have a buyer that just like loves your neighborhood. The inventory's been low for 2 years. I've literally been trying to like find them everything. And so now I'm just going above and beyond for them. So please, like, have you heard of anyone in your neighborhood? Like this is just their dream. And that's a lot easier than just kind of randomly just saying something, you know?
So yeah, that's actually a great, like you just you're so smart, Scott. You just like gave me a great idea. So you're right? Like so what I had been doing was just doing my neighborhood, right? Because we're farming it. And so I was, we wanted, our whole goal was to start door knocking it and we had this whole plan of action, and now COVID kind of put that, away for a little bit. So it was really like cold leads, but I did just sell a property that had 11 offers on it. So I could just circle prospect that neighborhood.
Well, that'd be awesome because you have the offers, so you know the agents that had the buyers, right? And if you got the house, you could call all those people and go, I found another colonial in the same neighborhood that looks the same for the same amount.
Right. Yes.
So if you call the neighborhood, say, I had 11 offers on my property, I can bring them to your house if you're looking to sell.
Right.
And then the same thing is what like Scott was saying, Matt calls neighborhoods that like, if we ask all our buyers, do you have a specific neighborhood or area of interest? And we have him drive around and he'll call and say, I have a pre-approved buyer ready to move and we don't have the inventory. Are you looking to sell your home? And that's all he says. And if they say no, he's like, okay, great. Anybody else, the same script we were doing before. But Matt does it,
And so I think for me, that would be so much easier because it feels so authentic to me. Because
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but you just
said that like 4 times. It
You
has
had
to be
11.
authentic. You have to feel genuine.
You had 11 offers on a property. So you're just trying to help out those other buyers that were left without a house that got beat out. That seems
Right.
pretty authentic if I'm calling.
Oh, I just like had this great epiphany. I feel amazing. This was awesome. I hope somebody else got something out of this and just wasn't me.
I have a question, Tina. Where are you getting the numbers from? So for the neighborhood, like,
So,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm thinking.
so if you subscribe to Land Voice, which is what we did, because we're brand new to this, so we priced them out, and some of them are pretty expensive, but Land Voice was like the least expensive option. And it was $80 a month, and you got FSBOs, expires, and then you got a neighborhood search. So you can go in there and put a street address, and then it'll give you all the neighborhoods around there. I think in a mile, a couple mile radius. It'll give you the phone numbers.
and does it take the people who are on the do not call list? Does it have like it marked that
Does
way
it
for you or
drop?
no?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
does
does.
it scrub?
Yeah, it does. It's got a thing next to it that says that it's on the DNC list, and then it'll have, sometimes it might have multiple numbers, so it'll have, 2 that are on the DNC list and then 1 that are not. So, yes.
Thank you.
And Land Voice is the one too that also, if you are a Bold graduate, they give you a discount. Just an FYI.
So you got to look up. I mean, it's the same thing as calling. It's the same concept as calling your sphere. If you want to contact them 4 times a year, you got to have 4 things to say. So you say, oh, one thing is going to be a movie event. One thing I'm going to thank them at Thanksgiving time. Like you plan that out. Well, what is your reason for the call that's really valuable? The reason for the call could either be you have a buyer you've been working with forever and they like want your neighborhood bad and you're just being proactive and going above and beyond. Or like in your case, you had a listing that got multiple offers and you want to make sure that you want to spread that message. And really it could be, I feel like when I had a listing that would have 15 offers, I'm making one person really happy and letting 14 people down. Like we're in a real estate business and you get attached to it. Like these people are like groveling how bad they want the house and writing letters and like you feel bad for them. Like you wish you could create 14 more houses and they could all get one, but that's not possible. So now you can go above for them, even though they're not your clients, and just be like, we got the greatest buyers that are like dying to get in this neighborhood. And I just wanted to just see if there was 14 others of them that didn't get it, and they were heartbroken. And I'm just seeing if, you know, there's anyone here that has been thinking of selling, because there's clearly 14 people right now that are like just dying. I can show, like, I'll show you the letters. Like, they're so, you know, they're so powerful. I'm just wanting to fight for them to get into this neighborhood. And, you know, say, oh, forgive me, like, forgive me for calling. I'm not usually someone that does this. However, you know, I'm just really wanting to fight for these people. I felt bad for them. They wanted this house in this neighborhood so bad, and I'm just looking to do everything I can for them. And, you know, have you thought about listing your house, or have you heard your neighbors ever thinking about that? And, you know, just going that way.
Yeah, I think that's a much easier and less stressful, sweaty conversation that I can have.
I mean, you could always watch Cops and sweat that way. No, so I would have like that kind of an intro, and then you would have the 5, 6, 7, or 8 questions lined up from like a Glover or from whatever that you could that you would have in your back pocket, because some people are going to really love talking to you, and some people, like Joe said, are going to like, and you're just like, okay, bye, you know. And you don't have to like turn that person into your best friend. You just buy, and someone might want to talk to you for 20 minutes and you become your best friend. Like door knocking. I mean, Jeremy and I found this lady who we could probably have been best friends and like hung out with her every night. I mean, she was this retired teacher, and she just like, we talked to her for like 30 minutes. And we just a random door knock. But then you go to some doors and they want nothing to do with you, or they hide from you, or they're short with you, and you can't attach yourself to how they respond, because all you're trying to do is share your message. How they respond is not up to you. You can't control that. And so don't worry about it. Don't focus on it. You just focus on what you can do. And what you can do is be really skillful and scripted and and caring and have a value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I loved what Gary even said today in that live thing that he did, going off of what you said, Scott. He was like, people need to be the local economist of choice and sharing like local information. So, you know, a lot of people don't have that in general. So it's like you could, you know, be telling yourself that's what I'm here to do or provide, if you will. So.
Well, I think that's really a good point, because that's kind of what brought us to doing this, is just from making care calls and then people asking us how real estate is, and then they're surprised when we were telling them, like, it's great, properties are still going on the market, they're still getting multiple offers. Like, people, I think, thought that once we went into COVID, everything shut down. So I think now to just start circle prospecting, because I know if my database didn't know, then, you know, there's a lot of other people that don't know that real estate is still happening.
Exactly. And I would label that, I would like layer that in. That's what I mean, like with a really updated script. You know, if you're like most people, you probably just hear the news and how it's doom and gloom, but actually in this county, you know, blank homes came on the market and blank homes sold in the last, you know, 2 weeks, or, you know, that you pull up that script or those numbers, because they're like, what, are you serious? How do you even show a house during this? I didn't think that was even possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be armed with the numbers and blend the two, because anyone you call right now, you got to have an element of the care call in it. Like, you got to have an element of like, how are you doing with this, and what, you know, like it's all blended. Even if I'm doing co-broke calls, or calling my friends, or calling my clients, or anyone I'm calling, it's like, it all sounds the same right now. I'm like, well, shoot.
Well, and I want to just add 2 cents. Like when I was in retail, you know, I worked at Pier 1, and so when we'd approach customers when they first come in, we, you know, open-ended questions. Oh, so, you know, what are you shopping for today? And the reflex is going to always be like, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. Like, even if you have a question, even if you're like, oh, you know what, I wonder what the price is on that, or or I'm looking for this that I saw online, I don't see it. They don't put it on their barrier right away. So you have to have something of value to show them or to share with them. And then like a lot of times, like if you just time it right, then people will be like, oh, and actually, how is the market? So I just think that does also relate, the way people just automatically will put up their barrier.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Especially if you're just calling them, out of the blue.
That
So
book
that's
was
why
really
it's like-
helpful with that, the fanatical prospector, because he says there's a no meter. I think it was in that book, and it's not, no doesn't always mean no, because like as Shelly said, I used to work retail, and it was like every single person, that's what you say, including all of you on the phone call, probably say that to somebody working at a retail store is, no, I don't need help. And then 2 seconds later, you're trying to find that person at Home Depot to find what you want down that one aisle that you can't find. And you're like, crap, I should have just asked. But you have that reflex built in. So they're going to say no too, because you called them out of the blue. And you have to ask another question to break down the barrier, and then another question. And then they finally know that you're coming from a different place and not just trying to sell them something. You are bringing value of some sort. Even if they're not going to buy from you, they're going to remember that you called them out of the blue. And we've had people call us back, like, we saved your number. You called us this one time and you were going to list our home. We're like, holy crap. All right. This is awesome. So if you bring that kind of value through your voice, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah. You respond to that. Like, yeah, we're very proactive, as you can tell, we take our jobs very seriously, and we're always out looking for leads. So this concept reminds me of tactic 4 and shift. Just you've got to go out and you're finding the motivated, and there's not as many motivated, so you go find them. And that's why I like the approach, me personally, and you have a similar personality, is just being really like right away up front. It's not just a, hey, who do you know that needs to buy, or do you want to sell, or whatever that you were kind of going through. It's just like, oh my gosh, I was up till midnight last night and I got 11 offers on this house, and I just feel so bad for these 10 people. I'm just felt compelled to call around, and I normally don't do this. Like, oh, that's a different startup than, hey, do you want to buy some laundry detergent? Or, they're probably thinking you're out to sell them like whatever. If you get a random call, they're going to instantly think like you're selling them something for $19.99 a month. But if you act now, it's $8.99.
Right. I also think if you call them, right, and then you let them know you just sold a house in their neighborhood that got multiple offers, that sparks something like, really? Wow. Like, and kind of eases their minds a little bit.
Especially now.
A lot of them ask where the house was sold and how much you sold it for too. So then you give them some neighborhood insights. If you pull like a CMA on the neighborhood, like, do you know how much your home's worth? We can do a free CMA. Like on average, your homes in that area go for 300. We sold this one for 325. It might spark like, hey, we were thinking of selling next year, but maybe this year's a good year. So like the more we talk, the more you bring up some of the things that have come up. And that's a huge one, is knowing the numbers of the neighborhood prior to calling, because it makes you have the knowledge up front. So it makes you feel more comfortable talking about the neighborhood, not just, yeah, I sold a home, but I have no idea what the rest of the homes are in the neighborhood.
Right.
Like, it could be a ranch, it could be a colonial, maybe they're all colonials, maybe they're all ranches, maybe there's a mixture, maybe they're all Cape Cods. Knowing the demographics of the area or the type of houses helps as well. Knowing the most about that area you're calling, especially if you're farming it. I mean, you live in that neighborhood, so you should know a lot about it, but calling just solds and like accepted offers, that kind of thing. I think having that like story to tell, like Scott was saying, helps bring the value. Like, yeah, I have 14 other buyers that need homes.
Right.
Like, you personally don't, but you can definitely make that phone call and bring them to that house.
Right. Oh, I really appreciate this. This was like super, super helpful to me. Hope it was
Are you going to
helpful.
deliver me a old fashioned now?
I can. I'll be there. I'm going to be there in 20 minutes because we're going to be by your house.
I really wanted those signs you made me. I didn't get to see them all. You got to take a picture.
I kept them because I figured that you were going to, and I was like, why did I give them to you? So I'll drop them off tonight with the old fashioned.
For real?
Yeah,
I
for
mean, you
real.
could just take a picture of them.
No, for real. I give them to you.
Okay.
They're covered in COVID.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait.
My kids licked them all.
Just sneeze on them.
So did Mike. It was
Oh
weird.
my God, it was so funny. Allison was in the office today or yesterday, and we like both went to open the door at the same time. I was like going out to the hallway, and she was coming in, and I don't touch the doorknobs. I use my foot, so I like open it with my foot. I kick the door open, and she was like, "Oh hey," and I was like, and she like got so freaked out. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I have a weird sense of humor though.
Oh my God, you're terrible. I know.
And then actually, you said actually that I was very smart. So did you do that on purpose?
I did. I actually wrote that on the sign too for your birthday.
Yeah. She's like, wow, that was actually really smart, which means in my language that I'm not normally smart and I actually was smart.
And that's actually the truth. So glad we cleared that up.
Do you guys, when you guys do the circle prospecting, Joe, do you guys ever send anything in the mail? Like I just got something in the mail from, I think it was like Remax or something saying like, hey, we just sold a house in your neighborhood. Like, do you want to know what your house is worth? Like, have you guys found that that's been, like, there's a good ROI with that?
We used to do that a long time ago, but we haven't. We just do the calls. My return on investment for the calls is way cheaper than doing a mailing. But if you're farming an area, that would be different than just calling around. I think
Yeah.
if you're trying to become the knowledge broker in that area, I think, email, phone, text, sending postcards, that kind of stuff would be beneficial.
Mhm.
Because then you show up in multiple forms,
Yeah.
just calling, there's not a lot, all of a sudden I can relate like, oh, look, I have a postcard. And then, oh, look, this person called me. It's the same person.
Yep.
And then they're
Yeah,
walking
just all
around the
those
neighborhood,
touches.
passing out flags or whatever, like that could make a big difference then because you're the voice of the neighborhood. I would also suggest if you're farming the neighborhood to start a Facebook group for that neighborhood. And then you could be the voice of reason in there. I wouldn't necessarily make it about real estate, but just, about yourself and how you can help the neighborhood. Or like right now on mine, I'm doing everything around COVID. Like, what is everybody doing? We're doing the chalk art. So we're taking pictures of the chalk art and putting it in there on the streets that they're in. And we did like a crossword puzzle for kids and that kind of stuff in there for all the neighborhood kids. And of course it has a little R logo at the very bottom of it, but we're not like saying like it's real estate related or anything. But then they see the name and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that postcard was from that same guy or that phone call was from that same guy.
Yeah, to that point, Joe, like it would be much more effective to do all of that to like 50 homes than try to like just sold to like random sporadic neighborhoods and just like throwing it at the wall and seeing what happens. So maybe that person is trying to really target your area, or maybe they sell a house and that's what they do. But it'd be a much better return on your investment and a much safer bet long term to just, even if you sold a home in like Brown Deer, you would still send the same stuff to your people into that farm, like just so they know you're selling, versus like, I used to do just like 200 just sold postcards around every listing I sold. Well, that's like throwing, it's like, well, I hope something happens. It's like letting a bird loose and hoping it comes back to you. You're just like hoping and praying versus being strategic about it.
So you're saying like, if I were to farm my neighborhood, I just, every time those just sold, just listed should just go to my neighborhood then, and then not.
That's what Tony DeSello did. He was like, he's Diana Kokoska's husband. Every 2 times a month, one time he would send out, Tony did it again, and it would be like all his buyer sales. And then 1 time a month, Tony did it again, and it was all his seller sales. And it always looked the same. It was on like blue paper. It was just consistent, and he didn't send it to the people like neighborhood that he sold. He just always sent it to like his database and to his farm. And so they just knew like, oh, it's the 14th of the month. It's Tony did it again, you know, he got this, Tony did it again. And so it's just like that consistent message around it.
Top of mind. Yeah.
Yep, I love that.
But I think if you're doing like Nextdoor or a Facebook group and you're doing that, and then you're sending out a postcard and you're doing it at least once a month, those people are going to see like Tina's the one I need to call no matter where the home's being sold. She seems to be selling a lot of homes, right?
Right.
Even if they throw it in the garbage, they're going to be like, when it comes time to sell, they're not going to remember their agent from 20 years ago that maybe sent them a magnet for their refrigerator. They're going to remember Tina because Tina's been calling once a month and sending out a postcard, and she's been chatting me up in Nextdoor app or the Facebook group or whatever, you know, and she's the voice of reason in that area, whether it comes to needing a plumber or an electrician, because Nextdoor apps are, you know, anybody have a plumber? I have an issue on Saturday. So you go in there and you get the email and you email them like, I have 3, pick your top one. And then all of a sudden you're the voice of reason in Nextdoor. And they notice that you're the same one on the postcard and the same one making the phone calls bi-monthly or, you know, whatever that you're going to do. So.
Awesome. Well, this was awesome, guys. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody got something out of it. It just wasn't me.
I think Scott's designing a 36 touch for you right now for your neighborhood.
I'm sure, with a really complex spreadsheet with lots of formulas, and he'll be grinding it out at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past me. Like
neither.
talking about this stuff though makes me want to just, you know, like it's a fun business to be in. You know, I've gone away from a lot of stuff just because I'm not really out in the field much, or I'm doing other things. But like, just to be so hyper focused on an area like that and provide that value, it's gonna be so much fun.
Right.
Maybe you can be OP. I'll jump back into sales, and
Those are big shoes to fill. But
yeah, there's
see what I did there?
15. I did.
CJ's shaking his head. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody's time. It's 4:45. Have an awesome weekend, unless anybody else has anything else.
Nope.
No, thank you.
Okay. Awesome. All right, I'll text you, Scott. I'll be at your house at like 5:15.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Better get my workout in.
Bye.
All right.